BBA 104 Indian Ethos and Business Ethics, Unit 6 Life Goals or Purusharthas, 4 Ashrams, Varn and Caste System, Doctrine of Karma. Let's begin with the introduction. Purusharth in Indian ethics, that which is sought by man, human purpose, aim or end, refers to a goal, end or aim of human existence. There are generally considered to be four such Purusharthas, namely Dharma, religious, social, or moral righteousness, both spiritual and ritual. Arth, prosperity as well as pursuit of meaning. Calm, pleasure. Moksha, liberation or renunciation as well as detachment. The notion that proper living entails the pursuit of four goals or ends first took shape in the literary traditions of the Dharma Shastra, the epics Ramayana and Mahabharata. Early texts treating the goals of human life commonly referred to Kam, Arth, and Dharma as a trivarga or three categories of possible human pursuits. This is generally interpreted as indicating that notion of moksha as one of the purusharthas is the product of a later age. The word Purusharth literally combined of two words, Purush and Arth, which is understood in two ways. Purushanam Arth Purusharth means what is the meaning of Purush, that is Purusharth, or that after which Purush achieves its real meaning. Pursai Arthe iti Purusartha means desired by Purusha. Therefore, it is Purusharth. With the above interpretation, variety of meanings get associated with the Purusharth, which are found in Hindu philosophical texts. These range from motivation of human activities, human ends, individual urges, human needs, desire to be satisfied, or ingredients of experience conducive to human fulfillments. Purusharth means for the purpose of the self. Take a moment and ask yourself, am I managing my life in a way to support my spiritual growth? And what do I really want at the level of my soul? What this slide talks about is two interpretation of the meaning of Purusharth. First is that why we have been born, why we have been brought in this world. And second, what do we want from this world? And together, if we combine those meanings, it guides us how to get through life. We are all born with some purpose and we all desire something. If we put the right dharma and karma towards the achievement of our desires and the achievement of the goal that we have been brought in this world to, we will feel a spiritual wholeness at the level that brings us closer to moksha. Concepts of Purusharth. The original Vedic text only suggested three goals of Dharma, Arth, and Kam. In later Upanishadic era, when people began to seek higher consciousness, the fourth goal of moksha was added. Let's understand them one by one. First, Dharma. Dharma means truth, the right way of living, and human behaviors considered necessary for the order of things in the world. On a grander scale, it refers to the cosmic law or rules that created the universe from chaos. On an individual level, you can think of dharma as your true purpose in life or ethical bias on which you live your life. It also means being conscious in your actions, words, and thoughts, having compassion and sensitivity to the needs of others, being awake to the existence of the divine within you. Dharma also brings stability and order, a life that is lawful and harmonious, and the striving to do the right thing, to be virtuous, to be helpful to others, and to interact successfully with society. The great Indian text, the Bhagavad Gita, says, the greatest dereliction of dharma is to desert the helpless in their time of need. The Bhagavad Gita also says, better your own dharma, though imperfect, than the dharma of another done perfectly. This means that you need to find your own truth, and even though you make mistakes along the way, this is still preferable to trying to copy others. Dharma is considered the first of the Purusharthas because without it, Arth and Kam can easily become self destructive. So, in layman's language, Dharma talks about the right or the moral way of living because once we lose our ethics, values, and morals, If we work towards achieving our materialistic goals, we might pursue means which would destruct others or cause damage or harm to the bigger society. The second Purusharth, Earth. Earth is the security of having the material comfort you need to live in the world with ease. While some people think that to be spiritual means to be poor, Earth is not about rejecting the world, but being content with the things you own. It's to live skillfully in a world of material objects that exist for your benefit. Earth is one of the basic human dignities to have enough assets to live on and care for your family without hoarding or being greedy. Earth guides you to ask the question, what do I see as truly valuable? Earth provides the foundation for dharma and calm. Without prosperity and security in society or at the individual level, both moral life and sensuality becomes difficult. However, it's important that your worldly success does not violate the moral responsibility of your dharma and your journey towards moksha, the spiritual liberation. Ved says that you should discover a way so money runs after you and not vice versa. Do work that is compatible to your nature and capabilities. Do work that serves society. Do work you really love. And trust in the infinite organizing power of the universe. Earth talks about, to explain it to you, that you need to understand your own purpose, your values, your skills. Because if you are engaging in activities which do not feed your soul, you will not be able to fulfill it at the level that you expected of. You will not be able to fulfill your dharma and you will not be able to perform your karma if you do not answer the question for yourself. Which brings us to the third Purusharth, calm. The desire for pleasure is what derives human behavior. A life without pleasure and enjoyment is hollow and empty. Calm relates to this pleasure, which can be sensuality, but is also art, music, beauty, love, intimacy, affection, fellowship, and kindness. It's what brings a sense of delight to your life. The right kinds of pleasure lead you towards your dharma and help you fulfill it with passion. Calm is good and necessary when it exists to support dharma and becomes part of the richness of life. However, excessive calm can lead to overindulgence, addiction, sloth, greed, and lust. To successfully practice calm, you must ask yourself, are my pleasures aligned with my life's purpose? To practice calm from a yogic perspective means to practice being fully present with whatever you are experiencing. Karma is a total sensory experience that includes discovering the object, learning about the object, establishing emotional connection, learning process of enjoyment, and exercising the resulting feeling of well-being before, during, and after the experience. Vedanta warned us that karma should be followed with thought, care, caution, and enthusiasm, and be free from the worries and egoistical problems. So, what we understand from this is that you've been born, you've been blessed with senses, you have been blessed with the privileges to enjoy those senses. So, why should we suffer by depriving our body and soul from these pleasures? The only thing that we need to be mindful when we are using this as for our life is that we should not lose track and overindulge in calm. We have a dharma and we have a karma to perform while enjoying it. None of the scriptures ask us to devoid ourselves from these pleasures, and we should be focusing on that to ensure a holistic growth. And without these pleasures enjoyed in the right amount, none of the human beings will be satisfied in their lives. Which brings us to the last of the concepts of Purusharth, the moksha. When you live your dharma fully supported by earth and calm, moksha or the final liberation draws. Moksha is your true nature and it is who you really are. It includes emancipation, liberation, freedom from the cycle of death and rebirth, freedom from ignorance, self-realization and self-knowledge, consciousness of the oneness of the Supreme Soul, the removal of obstacles to an unrestricted life, access to our full human potential of creativity, compassion, and understanding. Moksha is self-discipline that is so perfect that it becomes unconscious, second nature, and an unworldly understanding and a state of bliss. This liberation comes from a life lived with inner purity, alert mind, led by reason, intelligence, and realization of the Supreme Self who dwells in all beings. Moksha is seen as final release from life's illusion. The Upanishads describe all the liberated individual as one who treats others with respect, returns anger with soft and kind words, does not expect praise from others, never injures or harms any life form, and is comfortable being alone as in the presence of others, and is humble of clear and steady mind, straightforward, compassionate, and patient. Moksha is the state of final liberation that every person who has taken birth wants to achieve. Now, we had read in the previous units about the karmic connections, how everything that happens to us is a result of our own karmas. People would perform certain activities that might seem that it is moving towards their goal of moksha, but they still might not achieve it. Why? Because there is still a balance to clear about their karmas that they have done in this life, in their previous lives, or have been performed by the people aligned with them, associated with them. To achieve moksha, you have to pursue your sattvic guns in the fashion that you do not harm others, you're empathetic towards them, you are respected towards them, you lead a life where your soul is satisfied, where your mind is clear of negative thoughts, which becomes difficult when you are born in the human race. But that's the goal that we're trying to achieve, and that's the path we try to follow. If all of us move towards this lifestyle, this thought process, we will all help each other in growing. We will all reduce the negative sentiments engulfing around us and will help us to achieve the end goal of moksha. The journey through the Purusharth is beautifully summarized by Swami Chinmayananda, and I would like to quote that. May your life be simple and pure, so you know only beauty. May your mind be clear and quiet, so you speak only of truth. May your heart be filled with love and compassion, so you radiate light to all you meet. May all you do be blessed with divine grace. So simply put, and so beautifully capturing the essence of Purusharth, that all we need to be is simple, pure, truthful, and compassionate, and we're all on a journey towards moksha. Now let's talk about the four ashrams. Ashrams are the stages of life which provide training and environment for realizing the ideal of our life. There are four ashrams in all. Firstly, brahmacharya, that is the student life. Second, grihastha, that is family life. Third, vanaprasth, that is retired life. And finally, sannyas, the life of renunciation. The first two provide the training and environment for the pravarti mark, and the last two for the nivritti mark of development. Each stage has its own specific duties. Vishesh dharma. Ashram means a place of spiritual shelter. Each stage of life is not only a natural part of the journey from cradle to grave, but a time that which spiritually can be developed. Let's discuss one by one all of them in details. Firstly, brahmacharya, the student life. It is a specific period of education for all young persons before they can grow independent to work for life. Everyone gets his education from their teachers. During this period of education, he has to follow some ideals and live in a specific environment. In the ancient past, schools were boarding schools and where a child was admitted at the age of 8 to 12 years after following certain ceremonies, imparted knowledge, skills, and crafts, general and physical education, and training in knowledge. The brahmachari ashram, often away from the home, somewhat like a boarding school, was primarily intended for fostering spiritual values. Memorization and skill development were subsidiary to characters formation and self realization. Even sons of the royal family were expected to undergo this austere and rigorous training. The purpose of brahmachari ashram could be noted as mentioned below: to be celibate and live a simple life, free from sense pleasure and material allurement, to serve the Guru and collect alms for him, to hear, study, and assimilate the Vedas, to develop all appropriate qualities humility, discipline, simplicity, purity of thought, cleanliness, soft heartedness, and so on. So, Brahmacharya ashram, this life, the only primary purpose was to build your character, skills, knowledge, and stay away from materialistic attractions. The second ashram, Grihast ashram, this period of life covers an active period of effective membership of society and covers 25 years of life after the first 25 years of education. This is a householder's life, a married life. The ideal marriage was considered one which was performed for moksha or final liberation and intellectual companionship through the performance of household duties, including upbringing of children and offering reverence, shrad, to ancestors. This ashram has the following objectives: to make money and to enjoy sensual pleasures according to ethical principles, to perform sacrifice and observe religious rituals, to protect and nourish family members, to teach children spiritual values, to give in charity and especially to feed holy people, the poor, and animals. So, the second ashram talks about that you have undergone the skill development, character development, and now it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor at that time. You had worked so hard and you've been deprived of the luxuries that might be already available to you. So, these 25 years you engage in the fulfillment of all your senses that you've been blessed with. Third, Vanprasth. After the responsibilities to children are over, the parents are expected to take social welfare work so that they do not remain entrapped in moh or attachment. The idea is not to retire to forests and live in a place away from human habitation, but to live in villages away from thickly populated cities. Thus, the idea of third stage is to develop a new level of interest in action and not merely a retirement into a particular place. The idea also is that people in far off places will get an opportunity to consult for their problems, those who have spent their best years in the field. Thus, Vanprasth people were superior guides on social problems. The retirement of the old people also gives an opportunity to the youth to make experiments and contribute to the variety and richness of life. Vanprasth literally means forest dweller. To devote more time to spiritual matters, to engage in austerity and penance, and to go on to pilgrimage. So, the understanding behind this ashram is that you have put in your hard work and done enough for yourself and your family. Now is the stage that you do for the society. You give back to the society that gave you so much. With your experience of 50 years, you have knowledge in expert fields and overall in life skills. What people in this stage are expected are to educate or help people, young or younger people, with their wisdom and virtues. So they are not supposed to go back in a forest and take a sannyas. They're supposed to live nearby to the establishment and help the young youth to take advantage or learn from their experiences. Which brings us to the fourth and the final ashram, sannyas, renounced life. Sannyas is the final stage in life's growth. It differs from the Vanprasth stage in two respects: in the development of interest and development of motivation. While the dominant interest in Grihast stage is the family, the Vanprasth stage, it is human society as a whole. In Sannyas stage, the interest is the universe with its universal consciousness. As regards motivation in Grihast stage, the individual is motivated to seek the interest of the members of the family, while in Vanprasth stage, he is motivated to work for the interest of a particular group or community or human society. In both cases, if the interests are achieved, the Grihasthi and the Vanprasth feel happy and experience pleasure. If not, they feel unhappy and experience pain. When motivation is related to an end, success or failure in them leads to pleasure or pain respectively. Such actions are called interested action, that is, actions inspired by the fruit of action. Contrary to these, action in sannyas is disinterested action. Only a sannyasi will be motivated to perform a disinterested action which is not desirous of any fruits here or hereafter. Considerably civilly dead, he was free to wander, living a life dependent on God alone, with the following purposes: to fully control the mind and senses, and to fix the mind of the Supreme on the Supreme, to become detached and fearless, fully dependent on God as the only protector, to teach and preach the importance of self realization and God consciousness, especially to the householders who often become distracted from their spiritual duties. We've just read a lot of text on this ashram. Let me simplify this for you by saying throughout our lives, we were performing actions which were going to give us something in return. In the Brahmacharya ashram, we learned skills, knowledge, so that we can earn a livelihood when we enter the Grihastha ashram. In the Grihastha ashram, you were working, you were enjoying, you were doing things so that you can endorse and sponsor your family, your spouse, your children, your parents, everybody. Then in the Vanprasth ashram, you were using all of your experience and wisdom to give back to the society. In return, you were getting respect, acknowledgement, and there was a need of your existence in the society because people were gaining from you. In the sannyas ashram, you have to detach yourself from the basic idea of getting fruit of your action. You have to indulge into sannyas, indulge into growing your spiritual self, connect with your spiritual self without demanding anything in return. And that is the primary idea of this ashram. Once you do that successfully, you're not only just getting a step closer to moksha, you're also becoming a guide to the people who are looking at you from their grihast or vanprasth ashram, that detachment is also necessary. Once they learn this, they might not overindulge into materialistic attachments while being in those ashrams. So only a sannyasi can be do this, can be able to do this. That is, be motivated enough to perform a disinterested action, which is not desirous of any fruits. Which brings us to the end of four ashrams and the beginning of varnas, the fourfold order of society. Varna order is different from the caste system. While the latter is believed to be the greatest blot on Indian culture, since it has divided the society in conflicting camps, perpetrated harsh sufferings on a large section of the Indian people, and has made social justice difficult, or has proved socially monstrous, politically suicidal, morally obnoxious, and economically disastrous. The former is the division of people into groups on the basis of aptitudes, abilities, and vocations: for scholarship, for administration and defense, for production and distribution, and for unskilled labor. The Varn system is divided into four groups, namely the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudra. Brahmins. They engage in priestly functions, teaching, medicine, etc. They have the qualities of self restraint, austerity, purity, serenity, forgiveness, simplicity, wisdom, and philosophic insight into truth and reality. The duties or dharmas of Brahmins are offering prayers, performing ceremonies, sacrifices, and teaching. Second, Kshatriyas, the one who were engaged in fighting, ruling, and administration. They have the qualities of courage, strength, firmness, skillfulness, charitableness, and administrative abilities. Their duties are protecting people from external aggression and internal disturbances, as well as governing them, punishing the wicked, and contributing liberally for nation building institutions. Third, the Vaishyas. These are who were engaged in agriculture, trade, and commerce. They have the qualities of hard work, intelligence, and quick decision making. Their duties are engaging in agriculture, procuring commodities from others and selling them, rearing cattle and rendering help to the poor and the needy. Finally, the Shudras. They lack abilities and aptitudes. Hence, they have to work under others' direction and accept their authority and dominance. The duties are to do those things which others want them to do. Shudras are not permitted to read Vedas or observe Vedic rites or recite mantras. Before I move towards the Varnas and caste system difference, we have changed or altered the Varn system to our own benefit and advantage in multiple ways. That is the reason why we see the caste system. The Vedas did not guide us to follow this Varn system for anyone's privilege, for anyone's excessive growth. They were supposed to respect each other in the same manner, and that was the expectation from us. We deviated from our dharma when we started disrespecting one varn over the other, or considering one superior from the other. That is when we were doing our duties at a particular varna, but we were not fulfilling our dharma. Our dharma was supposed to be compassionate, it was supposed to be respectful, empathetic, helpful. And if we start considering some varna superior to another, we are not fulfilling our dharma, and uh, we are being untrue to our value system. Now let's move on to difference between Varn and caste system. Varnas are abstract. Caste and Jati system is real. We have them defined in a constitution and the other manner. Hierarchy, in Varn, one hierarchy applies to entire India. In caste and Jati, there are regional variations. Hereditary, in Varn, you do get membership determined by birth factor, but again, this has changed and has been altered over the evolution of our Vedas, and similar system exists in caste and Jati. Criteria of ranking, ritual status criteria gives you the rank of where you belong. Caste and Jati, you are given ritual status, land holding, numerical strength, multiple other things. In Varnas, we have four Varns: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Caste and Jati, we have about 2000 or more castes all over India. Place of untouchable, uh, there have been it has been given in both the cases, which is now not permitted and should not be practiced and followed. Change, hierarchical positions does not change anywhere, immutable or rigid. And in caste and Jati, hierarchical positioning shows regional variation. Now let's talk about the doctrine of karma. The doctrine of karma is so deeply rooted in Hindu social setup that it is considered the ethical background of Hindu social organization. References about karma theory are found in the Upanishads. Subsequently, this doctrine became so popular and so widely acceptable that it became an integral part of the Hindu culture. The origin of the word karma may be traced back to the Sanskrit root kru, meaning activity. In Bhagavad Gita, this has been given still a wider meaning related to life and death. The karma is essential for attainment of moksha. Therefore, the basic philosophy of karma relates to the performer of karma. The circumstances under which an action is done, the results or reaction of karma, and inspirations leading to karma. While discussing karma, it is essential to understand the theory of karma phal, which presupposes that every action of human beings generates some results. These results affect and influence the course of this future life. It leads to logical conclusion that what we sow, so shall we reap. The doctrine of karma is based on the following beliefs and assumptions. First, definitive result. The doctrine of karma holds that every physical, mental, or ethical activity performed by human beings has a definitive result. Indestructibility. The results of the karma can never be destructed. The present life is the result of punishments and rewards of past life. Belief in the immortality of the self. As the individual is destined to face the consequences of his deeds, his self or jeev after death must enter into new bodies. It is not destroyed along with destruction of body. Though the body will ultimately fall a prey to death and decay and be diminished to ashes by fire, the soul survives. If the actions of the individual are good, then a stage may come when the soul will attain salvation. Determination of general condition of life. The doctrine of karma implies that everyone in this life is rewarded or punished for his past actions in consideration of his deeds or his misdeeds. The difference with respect to prosperity, poverty, happiness, grief, intelligence, success, and failure, and various amenities of people in the present life are believed to be the results of their good or bad performances in the past. The doctrine of karma is based on the following beliefs and assumption: necessity of rebirth. As he sows, so he reaps, is the unfailing law. As such, the consequences of his past karma do not leave him even after his death. It is these fruits of one's own actions that necessitates him to take birth again and again. Supremacy of karma. The doctrine is based on the principle of supremacy of human endeavor. It holds man and his actions responsible for the bad or good conditions in his present life. The doctrine considers man as the maker of his own destiny. Karma Vipak. Karma Vipak is another element. Karma is unlimited. It always moves in a circular path. Therefore, it is continuous and never ending. It survives not only after death but even after the end of this universe. It is believed that the whole universe will come to an end. Even then, karma will not cease to exist. It will continue to survive and will also become the basis for the new universe. Which brings us to the end of this unit. Thank you.